Hey guys, it's Terry from River Boys Racing. Thank you for stopping back in. Appreciate you guys supporting me. But what I wanted to show you on this episode is some coyote stuff. I'm doing these heads for a coyote. And something very crucial I wanted to point out before anybody that might try to take this on themselves is something very crucial. Most of the time, fellas, you have room for air on most heads, combustion chambers, but on these coyotes, I wanted to show you with the gasket lined up, there is very limited space to try to open up around the combustion chamber. And these do need work in the combustion chamber area. As far as I always talk about detonation, the coyote's no different. I don't know what goes on with all this late model stuff. Over the years, they learned all these things, and yet the new late model stuff still has hot spots in the combustion chambers. And especially where it's more crucial when you have 4 valves per cylinder. And you'd think they wouldn't do the things that they do, but they do. And as I always do, fellas, I'll point it out to you. And here we go. I'm leveling this back, far from finished with it. But this takes a lot of time. I'm going to blend all this in here. It has the machine rig, of course. And we're putting bigger valves in this. But I'm still trying not to tear the seats up, of course. But we weren't really going to do that until I figured it out that between all the valves, you're dealing with like another square inch of air. Don't know exactly what we came out with that. That's been a while back we figured that out, but it changed my mind about going with bigger valves. I wasn't going to, and then I figured it out and with a friend of mine, and I was like, oh, surprised me too. But anyway, guys, I wanted to show you how tight of a area you're talking about here, trying to open anything up. Because I know we're not dealing with a pair of E7s, something older, a pair of Chevrolet heads, you just go grab another one. This stuff here gets expensive. And I'll take the gasket off so you can actually see without the gasket. And I kind of exaggerated this a little bit, fellas. It's even closer. I just made the line here more so you could see. I kind of cheated a little bit. So this is really crucial, fellas. And I just wanted to make it where anybody goes to do a pair of these heads, they just don't get in here and say, I'm going to open up around here first. And then it's too late. Because I don't know if anybody ever tried to put metal back on a pair of heads. It's expensive. And guys really don't like doing it. Even though I have friends that personally take care of stuff like this for me, they don't like it when I take it to them. And it's very expensive for them to run the machinery to do it, and time consuming. And sometimes it fights against them just like anything else does. I had an intake done a while back, and the guy actually felt bad for me. And he put a lot of time in it trying to make it right for me. And he still didn't like how it came out, but he saved my neck with it. But getting back on this, guys, this is just what I wanted to show you. There's not a lot of information on these coyotes. I don't know why people are so stingy with their information. They're afraid somebody's going to go a little faster than them or whatever it might be. But I put my own spin on these because I can't find any information on them. So it's going to be like anything else we do, fellas. I'm going to try to flip it over and show you what I've done already, because I'll show you what I do. Whether anybody wants to like it or not like it, that's up to them. But I know the slack I get. People say, oh, taking that whole guide out don't help, and it doesn't pick anything up. But I'm going to tell you, it might not pick up on flow benches and stuff, but it shows up in the car on times. And that's the ports I've done so far. I wish you could see better. I don't have a very good lighting here. And it's pretty much like anything else that you see out there. If anybody would show you anything that they do, some of the things I see people do amazes me. There's actually a guy I was just watching, people follow him, and they're impressed because he has a truck that runs 11s. I don't know where these guys come from. I'd like to line them up and smack them like the Three Stooges. I just don't know how people can be impressed with that. I have stock stuff that goes 10s with E7 heads, and they're thinking something with 12.5 to 1 compression, 383 cubic inches is impressive. I don't know where that comes from. So I don't know why these guys, they want to go in there and tell them and brag about what they know and show you $4,000 and $5,000 heads and have something run that fast. I don't understand that. Because all said and done, I'm expecting these heads right here to run in the 8-second zone. And we're usually pretty close when we say something. I always go on the limb and say everything to the 10th. That's a mistake I make, where most guys allow for actually half a second sometimes. But I'll stand on it, and if it don't do it, then I'll say, hey, it didn't do it. But I think it will do it. And only because I have a pretty good idea of what the other one went with a pair of heads similar to this. So this should actually do it. And I'm going to try to flip this over and show you the intake. Hold on there, guys. This is a little bit heavy. Trying to finagle it. And nothing special with anything here. The intake side, and it's nothing spectacular. I'm not finished yet, of course, but fellas, what I do notice, it's more crucial to do the outside of the runner. That divider, cutting that back and everything, especially on the intake, it doesn't really pay off. You don't really need it. I sock the air through it. That's how I test stuff. People can laugh all they want to. And I can tell how the air is moving through there, that it's not as crucial on the intake side to thin this way out. The only reason it winds up being thin when I do it is because I'm trying to straighten everything. That's the only reason the stuff that I do looks like it's maybe pointed or cut back. It's only because of getting the air straight. It's not to try to make it where I'm trying to hog it out bigger and stuff. It's all on how I want it to contour. And even up here on the roof, I try to blend that in best I can and give that a nice swoop. And on the exhaust side, guys, what I always do, I know this sounds kind of corny. You want to pretend you're the air trying to go out. I start off the seat first. I start from the seat. I go to the back of the bowl right here and see how that's going to angle out. I actually look and angle that to see how the roof of that port is. And then I taper all that in accordingly. You know, they say not to change the design of a head. But to me, if you're taking restriction out of a runner, that is the whole idea of getting the air to move. And it makes me laugh in a way, because you have these guys that say, oh, you never want to change the design of the head. Okay, but yet they'll make a head, aftermarket head, exactly how you can almost make that runner and that production head on a lot of cases. Sometimes you can't because it's just not enough there, too thin in spots and all that. But I'm just saying, on a rule of thumb basis, some of the stuff I hear and stuff I just totally disagree with. And people can totally disagree with me, what I say. But one of the things I can say, fellas, I can pretty well back up what I say with time slips. And flow numbers, I don't even talk about them. Like I tell you, I know that's the way people go. Dynos, we do it. We have our cars on dynos and the same things that everybody else does. But I don't even talk about it, because to me, when I see something that runs well and it puts the number down, I can almost tell by the horsepower it's going to make by our combinations that we do. I'm just fortunate that way. I have a pretty well idea when I'm doing something where it's going to wind up as far as horsepower and the times the car is going to run with the weight and all that stuff. I've always been pretty close on that. Not patting my own back, it's just I've been very fortunate that way. But anyway, guys, I was hoping to save somebody some heartache before they get involved on one of these coyotes and get themselves over their head trying to say, hey, let me blend that combustion chamber in a little bit better. Because they do have a very sharp edge and they're deep here. And they do need to be angled back and stuff. Anybody that really does heads would actually, that's what they'd be doing. But it's just one of them deals where you got to know your limits. And I wanted to show you before. Some people, they won't even put a gasket up. They'll just say, I'm going to cut this back here. And you wouldn't realize that the gasket would be that close to the bore. So I'm hoping to save somebody a heartache again. That's why I do these videos. It's not to do anything but to show somebody something that might stop them from making a big mistake. Because I know I could have made a big mistake on here if I didn't think it out. And when it's your own stuff, sometimes you will make a mistake because you think, it's mine. And it's not a big deal because, you just figure you'll grab another one, or it might be something you're just playing with that you don't really care about. But when you start spending money up in the coyote range and things like this here, you just don't run up to your junkyard most of the time and pull these off of something anymore. And if you do, it's going to cost you money. It's not a $50 head. You're talking $500 and $1,000, depending if you buy one already ported or whatever used. But you guys know, I don't have to tell you, it gets expensive. Even if you buy junk stuff today, it's like it's not like it used to be. I wish it was, but it's not. But getting back on this, fellas, I was just hoping to show you this before maybe making a mistake. And a lot of times you can get away on the combustion chamber by angling it here, and you can get pretty much what you need to get out of them as far as picking up around the valves and stuff. Like I actually did cut this back some here. You can't really tell because it actually, let me see if I can get my pointer. They actually, they go pretty far back in here, and these are already actually worked some. I've already been on these a little bit here. And like you can see the stock casting on this one still. I just started on these guys. And another little trick, it might look a little nasty when you're doing it. You can actually leave these a little bit, not filthy, but dirty. Because this actually shows your spots that are actually deep, where you can blend the stuff back. That's a little trick I do, guys. Instead of cleaning the combustion chambers all up, I leave it, and then it shows me the crucial areas that are actually sticking up, and gives you kind of an idea, a kind of a guide what to go by. And I mean, some of it don't have to come out, but you surely won't be hiding on you, thinking, oh, I didn't see that, It shows pretty much what you need to see to blend the combustion chamber in. But anyway, guys, I hope this is helpful to you. I'll probably be doing a part 2 on these when I have them finished, and then show you what I wound up with. And I have some E7 information coming out. So I lined everything up with that. I had a couple guys interested in that, so I have that information coming out, and I also have more of the 460 stuff I'll be coming around with. So be sure to look me up and keep in touch with me. And I appreciate you guys. Every time I see where you clicked on, I appreciate it so much, fellas. I can't tell you. But anyway, guys, have a good night. Take care.